Tory Taylor, thank you for giving us a bit of time here. I want to peel it back for a second, back to where this all started for you. We know the Prokick pipeline, we know about how strong it is and how we're into generations of this now. But for yourself, when did the seed first get planted about making a shift over to American football?
It was probably end of 2017. I'd been out of school for a couple of years and I was working a litany of jobs and just wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. I was working in construction, thinking about going to university, was working at a golf club, not really knowing what I wanted to do. It was end of 2017, went down to Prokick Australia. I remember getting off the train. It was at Gosh's Paddock in Richmond in Melbourne, and got off the train, saw a few of the boys send a few punts, and I was about to get back on the next one home after seeing that. But I was kind of like, well, I'm here, I'll give it a go. And I think I just had beginner's luck. I managed to get a hold of a few, and Chappie and Johnny at Prokick Australia just said, look, you've got what it takes if you really want to do this. And I was kind of a little bit hesitant for quite a while. And when I say quite a while, it was probably a good year or so, 18 months. And then I remember, it would have been about 18 months because I think it was June or July 2019. It's about 5 years ago. I remember sitting in the car, rang Chappie and I said, hey man, I know I've been a bit hesitant and screwed you guys around a bit, but let's just go for it and do it and see what happens. And I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket and let's go. So it was really one of those things that, joined in June, July 2019, and then it really just took off. It was Coach Wood's special teams coach at Iowa came out a few months later, and that's when it started to become pretty real. And then, moved over to Iowa in late August 2020. At the time I moved there, the season was cancelled, so I was pretty annoyed about that because I was like, man, I really only came here to play football. Like, I know they say student athlete, but I always consider myself an athlete student. But so I was a bit annoyed about that. But then a few weeks in, the Big Ten decided that we were going to have an 8-game season, and I thought, well, beauty, and then it kind of just took off. We ended up playing, I think it was mid to late October was the first game out at Purdue. I remember getting off. It was pretty windy day, similar to right now here today in Chicago, and I kind of thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. Like, this is what I've came here for. There was no one in the crowd, so that kind of helped a bit too. And it was one of those things that, my first taste of college football. But I think looking back 5 years ago, certainly come a long way, especially when you look back 6 or 7 years ago when this wasn't even in my mind whatsoever. I'm just so glad that I did it. And it's one of those things that I tell people all the time, and tell my little brother, if you're really not sure about something, just do it, because you really never know what doors are really going to open. And that was one thing my dad told me before I came here, was just, you're going there for the football and things like that, but just the networking you're going to be a part of, and the people you're going to meet, all the doors that are going to open for you. And really, to me, it was just a challenge that I really wanted to overcome. And here I am in Chicago, absolutely loving it.
Let's talk about the crack that you gave. Most punting yards in a season, breaking an 85-year-old record held by poor John Fingal, who doesn't hold that mark anymore. 2023 Ray Guy Award winner. Unanimous All-American, and there's a litany of other awards that go with that. How far did that surpass your expectations from what you thought you were getting into, as you mentioned, 5, 6, 7 years ago?
I get asked this quite a bit, and people think I'm probably being too humble when I say this, but I never, ever, ever once focused on individual recognition or anything like that. And I think that might be the biggest problem in sport these days, is that people are too busy worrying about themselves, when you just kind of leave that up to the golfers and the tennis players. But at the end of the day, my biggest thing was I'm playing a team sport. Like, how can I put the team in the best position? But it was obviously pretty cool, looking back on that, as to be able to achieve a lot of those things. It's really one of those things that, when I won the Ray Guy Award especially, there was certainly a lot of emotions, just because it reminds you how far you've come. And that was one thing that I'll probably look back on in a few years' time, and with a trophy in the basement of the house, and go, that was a pretty special moment.
A couple of those games in college, I think about a contest against Wisconsin and a game against Penn State, where you can literally hear the crowd, the commentators, the whole buzz of the game. It's not normally that the central figure that they're looking at in a contest is a special teamer and a punter, but it effectively felt like you were controlling the game out there with the performance you had, the way you were controlling field positioning, the way you were pinning the opposition down to the point where it felt like you could almost feel their offensive frustration before they even got on the paddock. What's that like, to take command of a game from a unique spot like a punter?
Oh, I loved it, man. I think it was really one of those things that whenever I was out on the field, it wasn't as if I was kind of just going to trot on out there. It was just like, man, the ball's in my hands. I'm really just going to try and manipulate the game the way I wanted to. And it was one of those things that special teams and defense really, I wouldn't say carried the way at Iowa, but it was a really pivotal part of the way we, I guess, the style of play that we went about things. And like I said, when I went out there, like I was going out there to dominate, and at the end of the day, man, I just love winning. Like, I know it really sounds cliche and things like that, but just like knowing that the Wisconsin game was a big one, because there's nothing better than going into an environment where you're not really supposed to win and you come out victorious. So it was, certainly a lot of fun. But like I said, I really just love it when the ball's in my hand, and I'm one of very few positions on the field where the ball is. So I'm just going to do what I do and go out there. And I think the biggest thing is I just go out there and be myself. You know, a lot of guys will kind of look at other guys and like, oh, I want to be like him, or I want to be like that guy. But to me, it's just like, when I'm at my best, I'm literally just being myself.
I mean, look at this guy. It's like he's hitting a pitching wedge and a Pro V1 every time he punts.
Fast forward a little way along, and that incredible college career paves the way to the draft. Internally, when that phone buzzed, what was the first thing that did it feel real? Did you have the spirit leave your body for a second? What happened when that phone buzzed and you saw the Chicago area code?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, because I was on the phone to another team's like coach, and he was kind of just asking me a lot of questions and things like that. And then my phone started buzzing, and I said, "Oh, sorry, coach, I just got to take this quickly." But it was my agent, so I'm saying to my agent, shout out Bruce Toner, the man, best in the business. And I was talking to Bruce, and he's kind of like, "Don't worry, like it's coming, just stick fat, and we'll wait it out and see what happens." And then I was talking to him for maybe 60, 90 seconds, and then my phone started buzzing, and it was an Illinois number, and I knew they were picking, because I really wanted to come here, like, so bad. It's 3 hours down the highway at Chicago, you know. There's a lot of hype about everyone here, so yeah, phone started buzzing and saw the Illinois number, and I was actually in the garage at the time, so I had to run inside where all my family and all my mates and stuff were. So yes, just sat on the couch, took the call, and said the same thing over and over again, which I don't regret, but I wish I went about it a little differently. All I could really think about was just thank you and appreciate it, and just the opportunity that they'd given me. So yeah, certainly a lot of emotions at the time. And like I said before, I hope there's a lot of people that kind of see that and just really understand that you kind of just got to go out there and put yourself in uncomfortable positions. And usually when you do that, the chips fall your way.
On that rookie class, yourself, Caleb, we know you've also been testing Rome out there. We asked him just a little bit before, sending a few to the moon and seeing how he could handle those under it. How's that relationship developed over the last couple of months as part of this heralded Bears rookie class?
Yeah, I think because there's such a, I guess there's really, 5 of us drafted guys, and then you got 10 or 11 undrafted guys. And I think when you got such a little amount of guys, it's certainly a way to become close with one another. And it's just little things here or there. And certain guys I get along really well with, Booker and Karan. So yeah, they're two great dudes as well. And then Caleb and Rome, they always go out of their way to say hello and say hey. Just check in and see how you're going. So yeah, really great rookie class.
We've asked a couple of the players, and I've certainly spoken to a couple of fans, that when that ball comes off your boot and they see it climb to the sky, that was one of the biggest do's and ahs that you heard. Do you hear that out on the field when you let one go, or are you just locked in?
Oh, every now and then, but most of the time I'm pretty locked in. And this is going to sound really silly, but sometimes I'll hit a ball and then I won't even, I'll kind of look up and check to see where it's at, but then I'm just worry about the next rep, just try and make sure I get my breathing and things like that intact, because I'm really big on that stuff, just trying to be in a calm state of mind. And once the ball leaves my foot, there's nothing I can do about it. So it's just like I'm really just going to individualise each punt, and I'll look at the film after. But yeah, I mean, I really appreciate everyone's support from the crowd. But yeah, it's just really one of those things in the 6-7 minute period, I'm really just locked in and trying to perform at a high level.
I don't think everybody's used to, they talk about first bloke off the bus.
Yeah.
They're not used to the punter being that, but I think you're up there in consideration off the bat.
I'd rather people have no idea who I am, to be honest, because then you're usually doing the right thing.
This city is known for hard-nosed football. You weren't far away here in Iowa, you mentioned. I'm sure the fact that you punted in conditions is part of what attracted the Bears to you, that you're so fit for this team. But how have you found getting acclimated here and ingratiating yourself with the fans? How have you found that support?
I've absolutely loved it, and I think it's one of those things that sometimes you might take it a little bit for granted, how much really people love and support you. I really felt that at the Hawkeyes, and even here in Chicago, there's a lot of Hawkeye fans as well. In fact, everyone I really met at Iowa was from Chicago. So yeah, there's certainly a lot of I guess hybrid fans in terms of following the Bears and the Hawks. So yeah, certainly I really just enjoyed being thrown into the middle of the city and just being a part of it. So it's been a little difficult because I've always been someone that kind of likes to keep to myself, and the more people that don't know me, the better. Because like I said before, if you're kind of just boring about your business and do what you need to do, usually people just stay away. So I'm trying to keep it that way. And I mean that in a respectful way. I think people will understand that.
One thing you were known in the community, though, for at Iowa was your work off the field. You took an interesting complication of not being able to, make money off NIL, being an Aussie and being from overseas, and you said, all right, let's turn this into an opportunity and raise money for a really important cause with Count the Kicks. But is that something you look back on at this point as you start your professional career, something you're as equally as proud of, that work off the field, what you did on the paddock?
Yeah, I think so. And it's one of those things, when I first started out, I probably didn't really realise what it was going to turn into, and it probably took me a while before I was kind of like, man, this is pretty cool what people are doing just by going out there and purchasing a T-shirt. And it wasn't until I met the 5 ladies that started the organisation a few months after I guess started the T-shirt. And then once that kind of happened and I met all them, they were like, thank you so much. You have no idea what you've done for us. And I was kind of like, you have no idea what you've done for me. So thank you. It's kind of crazy how things always turn out that way. But yeah, just really grateful for everyone that's kind of supported the charity and gone out there, bought a T-shirt, because it really is like saving babies' lives. And I was fortunate enough to meet little Liam, who was saved by Count the Kicks. So yeah, it's just pretty crazy how I guess just a few kicks in the air can do a few miracles out there.
It's a pretty impressive legacy. As we turn from your legacy to perhaps the legacy that's been building around our compatriots, your colleagues in the NFL around punting. Yeah. Have you had from some of the other guys, and I know you guys talk a lot, but from the other Aussie punters in the league, any words of wisdom as you've come in here? Any words of encouragement that the rest of the lads have passed on your way?
Oh, I wouldn't. I think, I've obviously spoken to guys like Dicko and things like that at the Seahawks a few times, but one of my good friends is actually Lou Headley. Yeah, one thing that I really loved about Lou was he kind of did it the hard way, went to JUCO, then went to Miami, was undrafted last year. Everyone probably kind of thought, as a 30-year-old undrafted guy, is he really going to be able to take the job off someone that had been there for a few years? And I kind of looked at that as just like, man, if he can do it and he's done it the hard way, and I'm kind of in a little bit more of a, I wouldn't say easier position, but was fortunate enough to be drafted, then I kind of look at that and just really take a lot from that, and Lou's really one of my good friends, and we text probably every second day because we're on and off in terms of punting, but we always check in and see how we're going. And I spent a few weeks with him over this off season, same again in February and March. So it was really one of those things. He kind of just said, he's like, just go out there and do your thing, man. Like, you've been doing it, you've been kicking a ball for 20 years like I have. So it's really, when you keep it simple, and I've been kicking a ball for 20 years, since I was a young age, like most of us Aussie guys. So if you keep it simple and just do what you need to do, usually things kind of work in your favour. And because American football is an extremely complicated game, but it's only as complicated as you make it, and I just like to keep it simple. Just catch, mould, kick.